Jessica thought she was dreaming when her marriage blew up in her face. Just hear her tell her own story. I never thought I would be the woman telling this story. Hi, I am Jessica. I am 29 years old. I completely shattered my marriage with what I thought was a beautiful idea. Looking back now, I can't believe I was stupid enough to think Kobe would ever go for it. But hey, that's what happens when you let your fantasies, your daydreams get the best of you. Kobe and I had been together for 7 years and married for 5 years. He was always the stable one, dependable, hardworking, the kind of guy who remembers your mom's birthday. Not exactly the most exciting person in the world, but he was mine. Then there was Shay. I've known Shay years before Kobe, and there was always this energy between us. Shay was the road not taken. Kind of, the what if that never quite went away. We all started hanging out together. About a year ago, when Shay moved back to Lagos, Kobe was actually the one who suggested grabbing drinks together that first time. If only he knew what he was setting in motion. If only he knew. I watched them shake hands that night, sizing each other up in that weird way guys do. Kobe was polite, but I could tell he picked up on something women always know between us. I saw the way Shay looked at me when Kobe went to get another round of drinks. That look said everything. We hung out maybe 5 or 6 times after that casual stuff. Sometimes we watched football games together. Sometimes we had that backyard barbecue. Nothing really extra special. But every time there'll be these moments, she would say something that referenced our past, and I'll catch myself laughing too hard, or he would help me grab something from the kitchen, standing just a little too close. Nothing happened. I'm not that kind of girl, but the possibility hung in the air like powerful designer perfume. I started thinking about Shay more and more, comparing him to Kobe, imagining scenarios, just daydreaming. I told myself, I lied to myself. Everyone does it. But then I started keeping my phone closer, adding that extra password, closing chats when Kobe walked in. Nothing inappropriate was happening, seriously, just friendly banter. But I knew Kobe wouldn't understand the inside jokes or the late night "are you awake" tests that were totally innocent. Well, mostly innocent. The idea came to me after too many wine coolers and a late night scroll through some article about modern relationships on Facebook. People actually do this sort of thing now. They add a third person to their relationship. It has a fancy name and everything, and I thought, why not? Why choose between stability and excitement when I could have both? I know what you're thinking. This girl is delusional. And maybe I was, but in my head it made a whole lot of perfect sense. Kobe gets me most days. Shay gets me sometimes. Everyone is happy. Kobe would be the primary person, of course, the husband, the provider, the foundation. Shay would just be supplementary, an add-on, a bonus feature, a spare part kind of. I planned it all out in my head. Kobe was always reasonable. He would see the logic. We are all adults and would handle it all with maturity. Our friend Frida's cousin was in something similar, and they seemed happy enough from her Facebook posts. Besides, it's not like I was asking for much, just a little expansion of our definition of us, just a little extra room in our marriage vows. So one night, I put on that sweet pink dress Kobe likes, made his favorite jollof rice with lots of shrimps and peppered chicken dinner, opened a bottle of the good stuff, and waited for the perfect moment. Looking back, I realized I never once considered that he would say no, let alone what actually happened. But that's getting ahead of myself. I remember thinking as I poured his second glass of wine that I was about to solve all my problems at once. I will have my cake and eat it too, as they say. I was such an idiotic woman, so foolish. I had rehearsed what I was going to say a dozen times in the shower that morning. The words needed to sound casual and believable, like this was just a fun idea I had been toying with, not something I had been obsessing over for months. I even practiced my facial expressions in the mirror while Kobe was in the garage. Not too eager, not too serious, just curious and open-minded. The table looked perfect that night. The nice dishes, his favorite peppered chicken in the center. I had even put on some makeup at home for the night, which should have been his first red flag. Kobe came in from work, gave me that tired smile he always has after his long days, and asked what the occasion was. Do I need an occasion to do something nice? I remember saying, all innocent. Every day is Christmas. He kissed my cheek and went to shower. I topped off my wine glass for extra liquid courage. Dinner went exactly as planned. I let him talk about work, pretended to listen while mentally rehearsing my lines one more time. He was mid-story about some issue with a client when I decided it was time. I cut him short. Hey babe, I interrupted, reaching for his hand across the table. I've been thinking about us lately. His fork paused halfway to his mouth. That sounds serious, he said. Not really serious, just that I've been thinking about how to keep things exciting between us. I took another sip of wine. You know, after 7 years together, his expression softened. Poor guy. He probably thought I was suggesting a vacation or maybe trying some new bedroom stuff. If only I've been reading about how truly wise women handle things instead of reading stories about fake life ladies. Chai. I squeezed his hand, trying to look both thoughtful and sexy at once. I am thinking we could expand our relationship and make it more exciting. Not like seeing other people separately, but together. Kobe put his fork down. What exactly are you suggesting, Jessica? That's when I just said it. No more buttering. No more pretending. No more cutting it up. What would you think about inviting someone else into our relationship, like romantically? The silence that followed felt eternal. Kobe stared at me like I just suggested we rob a bank. You want us to have a threesome? He finally asked, his voice unnervingly calm. No. Well, maybe eventually, but that's not what I am talking about. I rushed to clarify. I mean an actual relationship, the three of us together. I tried to sound casual, like I was suggesting we try a new restaurant. He took a long drink of water. Do you have someone specific in mind, or is this hypothetical? My heart raced. This was it. Actually, yes. I was thinking maybe she. The way Kobe froze told me everything I needed to know. But I kept talking, words tumbling out faster as his expression darkened. He already knows us both. We all get along great, and I just think it could be really special. And are you already sleeping with him? Kobe cut me off, his voice deadly quiet. What? No, I would never cheat on you. I was telling the truth, technically. We hadn't slept together, just tested, flirted, dreamed. Kobe said, "But you would want to sleep with him?" He said it flatly. Well, it's not about wanting to sleep with someone else. I lied. It's about expanding our love, trying something new together. Kobe just looked at me for a long time. Then he said, "I need time to think." And he went to bed early. I counted that as a win. At least he didn't immediately say no. The next morning, I tried to snuggle up to him, act like everything was normal. He asked me flat out, "How long have you had these feelings for, Shay?" I should have denied it. Instead, I kissed him and whispered, "It doesn't change how I feel about you," which wasn't an answer at all. The aftermath? Kobe didn't come home after work the next day. I tried calling. My calls went straight to voicemail. I sent a text. No response. By midnight, I was frantic, spamming his phone, messaging his friends, even calling his workplace. Nobody had seen him. I almost called the police, but something stopped me. Again, police in Lagos says wait for 24 hours before reporting a case of missing individuals, especially if they are adults. Deep down, I knew exactly where he wasn't. Here with me. His wife, who had just suggested bringing another man into our marriage. Around 4 a.m., my phone finally buzzed a single text. Need space. Safe. Don't call. That's it. 7 years together, and I get 5 words. I spent the next day alternating between fury and panic. How dare he disappear like that? Also, what if something happened to him? Also, was he ever coming back? Or should I call Shay? I didn't call Shay. Something told me that would make everything infinitely worse. On day 3 of Kobe's disappearing act, I heard his key in the lock. I had been sitting on the couch in the same pajamas for 2 days, staring at my phone. He looked horrible, unshaven, red-eyed, still in his work clothes from 3 days ago. "Where have you been?" I demanded, as if I had the right to be angry. As if I had the right to be the angry one. He said, "Driving, thinking." His voice was hoarse. I stayed at an Airbnb in Ikorodu. He sat across from me, not beside me. Bad sign. "Kobe, you can't just vanish for days because of one conversation." One conversation? He laughed, but there was no humor in his laughter. "Jessica, you asked if your friend could join our marriage after I've watched you two flirt for months. After you started hiding your phone and changing your passwords. After you started finding every excuse to mention his name." Was I that obvious? I asked myself. Apparently, nothing physical happened, I insisted. "But you wanted to." Don't lie to me, Jessica. Not now. I stared at my hands. It's complicated, actually, but no, I didn't want to. Kobe stood up. I spent 3 days thinking about this, and it's very simple. You have feelings for Sheyi. You want permission to act on them without losing me. You want me to say it's okay so you don't have to feel guilty. Put that way, it sounded awful. That's not true, I lied. I'm going to ask you one more time, he said, and I need the truth. Do you love him? The question hung in the air between us. I could lie. I should lie. Instead, I whispered, I love you both. Kobe nodded slowly as if confirming something he already knew. Then he walked to our bedroom. I heard drawers opening, wardrobe doors sliding. When he returned, he had a small travel bag. What are you doing? My voice sounded strange, far away. I'm going to stay with my brother in Abuja for a while. I need to figure out what I want. Don't leave, I said, finally understanding the magnitude of what was happening. We can talk about this. We can forget the whole thing. Kobe looked at me with such sadness that I almost couldn't bear it. That's the problem, Jessica. We can't forget it. You can't unfeel what you feel for him, and I can't unhear what you said. As he turned to leave, desperation took over me, and I said, remember what we promised before we got married? No cheating, no divorce. Those were our only rules. He paused at the door. Funny how you remember the second rule but forgot the first. I didn't cheat. I didn't cheat, Kobe. Didn't you? He asked quietly and closed the door behind him. I collapsed on the floor, phone in hand, 50 unanswered texts to Kobe glowing on the screen, and one new message from Sheyi. Hey stranger, haven't heard from you in a while. Drink soon? I threw my phone across the room. Reflection and justification. 2 weeks passed with no word from Kobe beyond a short text confirming he had arrived Abuja. I had called out sick from work so many times they had stopped asking when I would return. Most days I just shuffled around our house, our empty silent house, replaying everything in my head, trying to figure out where exactly it all went wrong. It wasn't fair. I hadn't actually done anything wrong. Having feelings isn't cheating. Being honest about those feelings should count for something, right? I was trying to do the ethical thing by bringing it up rather than sneaking around. Kobe was acting like I had already betrayed him when all I had done was start a conversation. I tried explaining this to my elder sister during one of her check-in calls, but even she seemed skeptical. Jessica, she said gently, how would you feel if Kobe asked to bring some woman into your marriage? That's completely different, I snapped back. How? I couldn't quite articulate why that's wrong, but it just was. I wasn't suggesting replacing Kobe. I just wanted more. Was that so terrible? After 3 weeks of silence, I finally broke down and texted Sheyi, just casual. Hey, been dealing with some personal stuff. Could use a friend. His response wasn't what I expected. Heard you and Kobe are having issues. Probably best if we don't hang out right now. Heard from who? I asked. I felt sick. Was Kobe talking to Sheyi? Were our friends discussing us already? The humiliation burned worse than the rejection. I scrolled through Kobe's Facebook for clues. Nothing. He hadn't posted since before all this happened, but I noticed something worse in his recent photos. Our mutual friends had commented with heart emojis and supportive messages. Some wrote, "Hang in there, we love you. Call me if you need anything." No one was sending me those messages. I tried calling one of our couple friends, Esther and Barry. They answered but sounded uncomfortable. Yes, they had heard something was going on with us. No, she didn't want to take sides. Yes, she would speak or had spoken to Kobe. No, she couldn't really talk right now. The walls were closing in. Everybody knew. Everyone was judging me. And worst of all, Sheyi, the whole reason for this mess, had basically told me to get lost. That night, after too much wine and a sad frozen dinner, I did something I am not proud of. I texted Kobe. "I made a mistake. I miss you. Please come home." In the sober light of morning, I regretted it immediately. Not because it wasn't true I did miss him, but because it felt like surrender, like admitting I was wrong when I still wasn't convinced I was. My phone remained silent all day, no response. Then just as I was falling asleep, a reply came in. "I miss you too, but I don't know how to come back from this." Those words gave me hope and crushed me at the same time. He still cared, but he didn't see a way forward. I spent the next few days constructing the perfect response, something that would bring him home without me having to grovel too much. I settled on, "We can walk through anything together. What we have is worth fighting for." Send. Wait. Nothing. Days passed. My sister brought groceries because I couldn't face the supermarket where everyone might whisper about me. I started to realize just how much of my life was entangled with Kobe. Our friends were really his friends. Our routines were built around his shadow. Even our house felt like it belonged more to him than me, filled with furniture he had chosen and family photos dominated by his relatives. Without Kobe, who was I exactly? And without Sheyi, who still wasn't answering my increasingly desperate texts, what had this all been for? The awful truth began to dawn on me. I had gambled everything on a fantasy, a daydream, and now I might lose it all. 1 month after leaving, Kobe texted that he was coming to pick up more of his things. My heart leapt. It was my chance to fix everything. I spent the entire day cleaning, preparing his favorite meal, even putting up makeup for the first time in weeks. If he could just see me, remember what we had together, surely he would reconsider. The Kobe who walked through our door was not the man who had left. He looked healthier, more rested. He had gotten a haircut, lost a few kilos. Abuja agreed with him, apparently. "You look good," I said, trying to sound casual and not desperate. "Thanks," he replied, his eyes not quite meeting mine. "I can't stay long." I told him I made dinner. I gestured toward the kitchen where his favorite pepper chicken was. I thought we could talk. He hesitated and said, "Jessica, please." I said, "It's just dinner, that's all." He agreed reluctantly. We sat at our dining table like strangers. I poured wine he didn't drink and served food he barely touched. I've been doing a lot of thinking. I began carefully rehearsed speech. What I suggested was a mistake. I was confused, but I'm not anymore. I want our marriage, just us. Kobe looked at me for a long moment. And Sheyi is now an ancient history? Kobe asked. I lied. I haven't even spoken to him. That part at least was technically true. He hadn't returned my calls. Interesting, Kobe said, because he called me last week. The peppered chicken turned to cement in my stomach. What? He wanted to apologize and said you had been testing him constantly since I left. He said you told him I was completely on board with the three of us being together, but you needed him to convince me directly. My face burned. That's not true. I didn't. He showed me the tests. Silence stretched between us, broken only by the tick of the kitchen clock. I was desperate. I finally whispered. I was trying anything to fix this by lying to both of you. Kobe pushed his plate away. I came here today with divorce papers. I was going to ask you to look them over, give you time to get a lawyer. Tears sprang to my eyes. Kobe, no. But now I'm not even sure we need to drag this out. He stood up. I'll have them sent to you. I think it's better if we don't see each other again. I followed him to the bedroom where he efficiently packed another suitcase. This couldn't be happening. Not like this. What about our rules? I pleaded. No divorce. Remember we promised. He zipped the suitcase close. He also promised forsaking all others. If I recall correctly, I didn't cheat on you, I said. You cheated in your heart, Jessica. You lied, you manipulated, you tried to change the rules without my consent. His voice was steady, decided. And now you are still lying, even when confronted with proof. As he walked toward the door, panic overwhelmed me. You can't just throw away 7 years. You can't just stop loving. You can't just stop loving me. Kobe paused, his hand on the doorknob. That's the thing. I didn't stop loving you. You stopped loving just me. The door closed behind him with terrible finality. That night, through tears and rage, I did the unthinkable. I posted a vague self-pitying status on Facebook about people showing their true colors and sometimes love isn't enough. I tagged Kobe in it. Within an hour, I had lost 20 friends. By morning, I realized Kobe had blocked me entirely, and most of our mutual friends had either unfriended me or restricted what I could see. I had officially become the villain in my own story. The divorce was finalized 6 months later. I didn't contest anything. I couldn't bear the thought of dragging it out and having everyone know even more of our personal business. Kobe was surprisingly generous in the settlement, letting me keep the house I could no longer afford on my own. I had to sell it 3 months later, moving into a 1-bedroom apartment in Lekki that echoed with emptiness. Meanwhile, through mutual acquaintances, I heard Kobe had gotten a promotion and moved permanently to Abuja office. Sheyi, unsurprisingly, had completely vanished from my life. The last I heard, he had moved to another state for a job opportunity. He never once reached out to see how I was doing after everything fell apart. My sister was the only one who still regularly checked on me, though even she had grown tired of my refusal to accept responsibility. "You need therapy, Jessica," she would say during our increasingly brief phone calls. "You need to understand your part in all this." But what was there to understand? I had wanted something, been honest about it, and everyone had abandoned me for it. If anything, I was the victim here until the holiday party at my new workplace changed everything. I had been there about a year, finally starting to rebuild some semblance of a life. The company culture was big on partners attending events, and I had managed to dodge questions about my relationship status until then. But that night, as I stood alone by the dessert table, my boss approached with his wife and another couple. "Jessica, have you met our new regional director? He just transferred from our Abuja office." I turned a plastic smile ready and froze. Kobe stood there, his arm around a beautiful young lady who looked at him with undisguised adoration. "We've met," Kobe said smoothly, no trace of emotion to betray our history. "Nice to see you, Jessica." His new wife smiled warmly and extended her hand. "I am Betasha, Kobe." A small word. I mumbled something appropriate, excused myself, and spent the next 20 minutes locked in a bathroom, sweating profusely. Kobe was now my boss's boss. Kobe was happily remarried. Kobe looked better than ever, while I was still single, still struggling, still stuck. Over the following months, I was forced to watch from the periphery as Kobe thrived. His new wife was universally adored at company events. They bought a house in the nicest neighborhood in Banana Island. He received another promotion that required me to occasionally report directly to him. Always professional, always distant, as if we had never shared a life. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. I applied for a transfer to our Port Harcourt office, as far away as possible within the company. Kobe approved it immediately, of course. His final email simply read, "Quest granted. Best wishes for your future endeavors." As I packed up my apartment for the second time in 2 years, I found an old wedding album buried in a box. Flipping through it, I barely recognized the smiling woman in white. She looked so certain, so unaware of how thoroughly she would destroy her own happiness. My phone buzzed with a text from my sister. "Call when you are settled in Port Harcourt. Maybe this fresh start is exactly what you need." A fresh start, as if I could outrun the consequences of my actions, as if Kobe hadn't already shown me exactly how a fresh start was supposed to look like, complete with actual growth and happiness, not just a change of cities. The truth I still couldn't fully admit, even to myself, was that I had had everything I needed and thrown it away for a fantasy, a pipe dream that never existed. Kobe had moved on and found genuine happiness. She had never really wanted me, and here I was alone, about to start over in a city where I knew no one, working at the same company where everyone knew my ex-husband. Everybody also knew he was thriving without me. Sometimes at night, I still catch myself wondering, what if I had never asked that question? What if I had been satisfied with a good man who loved me? What if I had recognized the value of what I had before testing its limits? But those questions, like so many others, come too late to matter anymore. So sad. Please share your thoughts on this with us at the comment section below. Remember to like the video, share the video with your friends, family and others, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done so. Thank you for your amazing support always. This is African Folktales ChinChin. Till our next beautiful video, remain truly phenomenal. God bless you.